Hi, I'm Pam Anderson, food columnist for USA Weekend, and these are my lovely daughters, Maggie and
Sharon.
And it's October now, and the first thing I think of when in October is pumpkins. And when I think of pumpkin, I automatically think of pumpkin bread because it was one of our family favorites. I know when I would make it, when the kids came home from school, they would always just go crazy.
And that love for pumpkin bread definitely continued for me. So much so that when I lived in England, the only thing I ever asked people to bring me when they came to visit was cans of pumpkin.
I've looked at our pumpkin bread recipe because I knew I was going to be working on a bread recipe, and I actually looked at it and thought, this is more like pumpkin cake. I think I need to make some adjustments here in terms of making it easier and in terms of lightening it just a little bit. So we've got our favorite recipe here, which starts off with some all-purpose flour, a little bit of baking powder and baking soda and salt, our dry ingredients. Instead of using nutmeg, I use ginger and cinnamon and cloves. The method of making this bread was the traditional creaming the butter and the sugar, and I kind of like the bread technique where you're mixing the wet and going into the dry. So we add our spices to our dry ingredients, and then we move on here to our wet ingredients. I've got some eggs here, 4 eggs. To that, we're going to add our sugars, and I'm just going to whisk that in. And then, instead of room temperature butter, I melted the butter. And then we're just going to whisk in our pumpkin. So we've got our wet ingredients, and now we're going to stir those into our dry ingredient. So we have our 2 prepared pans. I've sprayed these with some vegetable cooking spray and then tapped in some flour. Okay, Maggie, I think these are ready for the oven. 350 degrees for about 50 minutes.
Which is always entirely too long to wait.
So it's done. That 50 minutes went by pretty fast, didn't it, Sharon?
That's what you think.
Well, you ready for a slice?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. You like the end piece?
I like the end piece. You can see why we have to make 2 loaves and not 1. We'll eat half of this in the next 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll see you next week for more recipes and videos. In the meantime, head over to usaweekend.com
or 3minutecooks.com.